Hello, hello, hello. Smars here. So I'm not actually coloring any pages today, or at least right now. I have to pencil a bunch of pages for today before I can actually sit down and color them. It was kind of a late night working on pages beyond Goblin, and I'll explain that in a minute. Um, it is a unrelated it's an unrelated but related sort of tangent. So, but right now, I mean, I'll give you a midweek sneak peek. um, it's just this one panel of Jeff riding on a kimp a kimphin a kimp a kimphin. I don't know why I had a hard time pronouncing that. Wow, a kimphin. Just one of the little numerous odd creatures in the Goblin series. Um, I really enjoyed the redesign of it. I did. I don't know. I don't know what possessed me to make the version the 2012 Goblin calendar look like a duck-billed dinosaur bird thing. I don't know. I don't know what made me do that. I know in the back of my mind, and it really should always be at the front of my mind, that there are no animals in Aravana. It's the next step forward. Where bugs, insects, arachnids, things like that have taken the place of animals, and of course animals have taken a place alongside, I guess, humans. We could say. I mean, when you look at like the different animal types, the anthropomorphic animal types in the series, it's just I've always had a thing, and I think I've mentioned it before. I've just always had a thing with cartoons where there were animals, anthropomorphized animals, and then they had animal pets, or they existed in a world where there were regular animals as well. Like Mickey Mouse and Pluto. That's ridiculous to me. Even though it's a cartoon, it's ridiculous to me, because where does Goofy come in? Where does he come in? Anyways, I've gone off on a tangent. So I wanted to talk about what a tangent. I wanted to actually talk about page count. Because some things came up. They've come up recently, not just at this convention that I recently did, where I realized that series like Munch Chunky were underwhelmingly represented, but also where I'm actually talking to, and in, like, I guess, final negotiations and the final steps of creating alongside a couple of other people, a digital comics company. Sort of. Well, I'm not even going to give examples of other companies. I'm sure we all know other sort of comic co-ops, sort of situations. Where they're digital. And they're all online web comics and stuff like that. But then, these you'll actually be able to buy some stuff too. But I'm creating a new series that's actually an old series for that. It's actually Goblin's Big Brother series, which is called Myth of Eustro, and I am doing that exclusively for this company, and that's kind of cool. The only problem is that there is now a three-way tug of war, if you could believe such a thing could exist, between Myth of Eustro, Goblin, and Munch Chunky. For, at least, as far as for my time. Each one is vying for my time, and it's really difficult, because right now Goblin is winning that tug of war. And this was something I realized while I was sitting at the convention, and I got home, and I sat down and I started playing with numbers and really looking into it, and I realized that I do about 80 standard US pages a month in Goblin. That's like, I've talked about it before, where it's I do about, the average comic has about 5 to 6 panels per page. And since I do nothing but panels, all my frames are essentially panels. I did the numbers, and it's about 80 pages worth of panels. That's a lot of panels, and it really made me understand why there's never any time for Munch Chunky. And I've started trying to sneak Munch Chunky in late at night after I'm done coloring the pages for Goblin, and for the most part it works, because Munch Chunky is bi-weekly. So I was able to do 5 pages every day after the 10 pages every day of Goblin. But I decided that, it's just, the problem is that it's exhausting, and the other problem is that even though that schedule sort of works out between Munch Chunky and Goblin, it wouldn't work between Munch Chunky, Goblin, and Myth of Eustro. Unless, of course, I had a colorist on Myth of Eustro that was replicating my exact color style. And I've been thinking about looking for a colorist. The only problem is that I can't pay a colorist. And that is the biggest turnoff for anybody that's aspiring to be an artist in the world, is that, you can't get paid for this thing that you're doing. At least, when you're working with someone else, someone that says, we have a company, I want you to work on my thing instead of your thing. Then it's like, you want to compensate someone for that. You want to compensate someone for the amount of work that they put in, the effort that they put into helping you realize your dream. And I can't do that right now, so that is probably not an option, because it's not cool. So what I was actually thinking about doing is reducing the amount of pages of Goblin that come out per week. From about 55, which is, it's usually 50 to 55 pages. Occasionally it drops below, and it's somewhere around 45. And I think this week's is at around 45. This week's that's coming out is going to be about 45 pages. Mostly because the story was short. And I'm not going to throw in a whole bunch of filler and stuff just for the sake of making it bulky enough. So I was thinking about reducing it to from about 55 pages to about 25 to 35 pages a week, which would honestly put Goblin back at its schedule. Even though it would come out weekly, it would be the same amount of pages per month as back when I used to do the series bi-weekly. I'm actually really surprised that I never thought about doing this before, instead of tearing up my wrist, which does kind of hurt, and really losing sleep trying to figure out how to keep up with the schedule, when I could have just reduced the amount of pages and then release the book weekly. I don't know, but so there's that. There's that. And it wouldn't be bad. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, the story doesn't get destroyed in any way. It's just that I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can't think of any way that it really affects the story, because the way that I time it out, it goes in beats of 10 pages. If you actually go through the issues, you'll see that about every 10 to 15 pages, you get a new transition, and that's the way that I work. I work in beats. I work in 10 pages, because every day I work on 10 pages to 15 pages a day. So everything is in timed sort of beats. And so it really wouldn't be too much of a difference for me. And I don't think it would be a difference for you as far as reading. The stories wouldn't get truncated or anything. They wouldn't get messed up or anything. They would just not be as long. They wouldn't take as long to read. But they would still, come out weekly. And on top of that, Munch Chunky would also come out weekly, and then the new series Myth of Eustro would also come out weekly because I'd be doing all of those books daily. At about at a frequency of about 5 pages each per day, 5 to 6 pages each per day, which I know that I can do just based on the fact that I can do about 15 pages of Goblin per day, and if I can do 15 pages of Goblin per day, then I can do 3 different series at 5 pages per day. And it's actually something that I'm looking forward to doing because Goblin has a very specific focus. It has a very specific story, and it can get kind of heavy sometimes. It can get kind of heavy for me, psychologically, and especially because I know where the series is going. And so I need something that's a little bit lighter in tone. And that's why I do Munch Chunky. It sort of balances out a little, and it makes me a little happy. And then with Myth of Eustro, I would say is sort of a middle ground between Goblin and Munch Chunky because it's a little silly at times. The characters can get a little goofy and over the top, but they have sort of that serious, epic, long battle ahead of them, like the characters in Goblin do. I mean, like I said, it's Goblin's Big Brother series. So you can expect, there will be some things that are sort of related in terms, like there are a lot of the same words that will be used, like blue fire. I'll just go ahead and say that blue fire comes up in both Myth of Eustro and Goblin. They have 2 different sort of meanings, but these series came from the same the same core idea. Many years ago, and formed into 2 separate series. But you'll see other similarities to slight similarities between character types and stuff, and what they represent in the story, in the grand scheme of the stories. But of course is all sort of tangential. I'm on tangents as far as non-Goblin related stuff, but that's only because there's not a lot going on this week. I'm still working on the sketchbook. I'm doing all the writing in the sketchbook, all the comments rather, and slowly updating the data book. I guess I should probably maybe post a couple more pages today. I was really hoping to fill out the rune clause section. Like the rune clause have a section I believe is active right now. I just posted it 2 days ago. I don't know, but it has there are a lot of rune claws, and all the characters don't you can't click on them. I want them to be clickable, and it would take you to their particular pages. Not a lot of information to talk about with all of the different people, but still I wanted you to get some some sort of wiki experience, where you can maybe get a little bit of extra backstory that I didn't talk about in the series. Yeah, I think that is about it as far as what I want to talk about this week with Goblin. I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop talking. This has gone way over the amount of time that I usually like to keep these. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you this weekend. All right.